Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So I recently have made two videos about pre-fight abilities. One was overall generic guide about the types of pre-fight abilities, and we went over pretty much every champion who has pre-fights. And then I made the following in-depth video about Odin's pre-fight abilities. So this is going to be the third video, the last one that I make on pre-fights for now. And we're going to be taking a look at this sexy silver fox. Right, Mr. Fantastic is also one of the most dominant pre-fight ability champions, and he gets wildly used. Now, he can obviously himself benefit from his pre-fights quite significantly, but there are a lot of interesting kind of hidden interactions with the fact that those are active debuffs that you can maintain the entire fight on the opponent, and due to that, a lot of champions have interactions with it. Right, so first we're going to be taking a look at the champion examples, and then further on we're also going to be showcasing some fight examples so you can see the difference exactly. So here we're going to jump to Aunt May. First of all, read all of his pre-fight abilities properly. Right, pre-fight abilities, so he has 3 of them, but apparently Aunt May doesn't want me to read them out. Either way, he can give 3 debuffs by activating each of them separately before the fight. They only last 1 fight. However, whenever you play with Mr. Fantastic, you can gain more charges, and you can kind of choose whenever you want to activate them. One of them is a Petrify debuff up to 40% potency if you are using a 6-star version. Then you have a Siphon debuff that is increasing the potency of your damage over time effects, and then decreasing the potency of opponent's damage over time effects. And the third one is Suppression debuff that lowers opponent's combat power rate. And all of them have obviously their uses in itself, but that's not exactly what we're going to be discussing in this video. For instance, just the fact that you have access to Petrify can enable a ton of champions heal reverse if you have access to plenty of debuffs and Despair Mastery. The fact that you can put 3 debuffs and you can max out Despair Mastery in addition with Petrify basically lets any champion to be able to mitigate about 70-80% of the healing, 85% of the healing reduction, or potentially even more if you have access to more debuffs. On top of that, there are a lot of champions that interact with Petrify. For instance, Dr. Doom can never activate his Aura of Hazorath if you have Petrify debuff active, and that makes fighting Dr. Doom a lot easier. So, with the help of Mr. Fantastic, virtually any champion is capable of being somewhat decent Dr. Doom counter on a kind of generic node. But again, that is not exactly what we're going to be taking a look at here, nor are his synergies. We're going to be looking at champions who have their own abilities that get enhanced thanks to the fact that Mr. Fantastic is placing debuffs for them. And the first one, the obvious example, is obviously Void. All right, this is probably something that everybody knows, but Void is inflicting damage to the opponent each second for each debuff active. It doesn't matter which debuffs they are. Void himself can get thereabouts up until 5 debuffs, I believe. But having additional 3 debuffs will let Void do significantly more damage every single fight, every single second of that fight, therefore significantly increasing Void's DPS. So Void is the first example that everybody pretty much knew. Luke Cage is actually one of the more impressive examples as well. Not many people know that Luke Cage gains extra attack for each debuff on the opponent. This actually interacts really well with the current Alliance War attack node, where you can get quite a lot of extra debuffs, and Luke Cage is one of the champions in that attack tactic. I wanted to test it a while back in off-season, but I kind of forgot. No, then the attack tactics are broken, and then after that I kind of forgot. I should have tested it this off-season, because Luke Cage, in theory, should be able to do some things very similar to how he is in certain Cav EQ lanes, where we have seen Luke Cage do monstrous damage in Cav EQ. But point being is, you can give your Luke Cage up to 4,500 extra attack rating just by having these pre-fights active. So Luke Cage is going to be a lot beefier and do a lot more damage. Similarly to Luke Cage, Red Guardian gains extra attack rating for each unique debuff on the opponent on his heavy attacks. And since heavy attacks are such a significant part of his kit and interact so well with the trauma debuff or fracture debuff, that you can place on the opponent, there's also quite a significant increase in damage for Red Guardian. Wasp, no, but well, I thought Wasp is next. Mr. Negative is next one. Mr. Negative benefits from it to mitigate degeneration. If you activate Mr. Fantastic's pre-fight abilities and start the fight with Mr. Negative, you will be reducing the potency of any degeneration by 120%. So even if your Mr. Negative is not awakened, just by activating Mr. Fantastic's pre-fight abilities, you will completely mitigate any downsides, really, of degeneration effects. Which is quite cool if you ask me. And if it's a degeneration debuff, then you can start healing. Right, with Ant-Man, obviously Ant-Man now is kind of like a popular character, and the benefit there is from the Ghost synergy, where Ant-Man gains 15% attack rating for each debuff on the opponent, and giving you permanent 3 debuffs would give you basically a permanent 45% attack rating boost, which is nearly as it would be if you were running Liquid Courage Double Edge. Obviously now the most important thing for Ant-Man is the Sam Wilson synergy, but still, it could give you a leg up at the quicker start of the fight. Now we have Wasp as well, and Wasp specifically benefits during heavy attacks and, well, whenever after she has shrunk herself down. Whenever Wasp shrinks down, her next 2 hits will be critical with 1,841 attack rating for each debuff active on the opponent. So 3 extra debuffs, again, 4,800 attack rating on these guaranteed critical hits, which is going to be basically every heavy attack, because she shrinks at the beginning of the heavy attack, or important parts of her special attacks. So with Wasp, there is actually really huge difference in the amount of damage she can do with Mr. Fantastic pre-fight abilities. Then there are a few more that maybe some of you did not know. Now, Night Thrasher is one of them. Night Thrasher actually has one of the best interactions with Mr. Fantastic. Number 1, he gains extra critical damage rating on every hit for each different debuff, each unique debuff on the opponent. And his level 2 gets more powerful precision buff for each debuff. So more debuffs, you get more potent precision. On top of that, you also have Darkhawk synergy that reduces 20% armor rating for each unique debuff on opponent. So this automatically will give you 60% armor reduction and let your Night Thrasher hit less harder through that. And then you can also benefit from Silver Surfer synergy that gives you 5% burst of bonus physical damage for each unique debuff on the opponent. So combine all of that together, there is a quite huge difference that I'm going to showcase in the video. And then past Night Thrasher, one of the OGs that actually benefits from Mr. Fantastic pre-fights also is Yondu. Because whenever opponent activates a special attack, they get inflicted weakness for each debuff on them. So if you have Mr. Fantastic pre-fight abilities, every time opponent activates special attack, assuming you have a relatively high sig Yondu, they're going to suffer from a 100% weakness. But obviously Yondu needs more help than that. Now, I might be missing out on a few synergies or few abilities. I hope I covered most of them, or most of the important ones anyhow. But let's check out some gameplay. So this is going to be Night Thrasher, just synergized with his Darkhawk and Silver Surfer synergies and Guillotine for some extra bleeds as well. And obviously Night Thrasher is a bit of a ramp-up character, so we're going to just fast forward there. We want to know how much damage we are really dealing when we have all 3 debuffs active. And yeah, it takes about 20 some hits, 30 hits to ramp Night Thrasher up, typically, unless you're specifically trying to do it in less. So here we are at 32, 33 hits. We have 10 Furies, we have all the debuffs active, including Taunt, all the gadget debuffs. And let's see what kind of damage numbers we get. So that was 7k non-crit, 7k non-crit, 25k crit, which is, you know, nice. Night Thrasher is actually doing much more damage than many people realize. So at this point, we can see there's 7k crit, 15k crit on heavy attack. And, you know, obviously definitely a good damage output overall. Some decent numbers. And we have some burst damage there as well. I think at one point we had like 1900 of burst, so that's not too bad. And the total fight time and the total hit counts, we finished in 66 hits and 1 minute and 47. I think the second fight that I did was a bit more clumsier. but we're going to activate the pre-fight abilities of Mr. Fantastic here. And we're going to check out what's going to be happening now. Now, I will mess up initially. So we're going to lose combo somewhere here at 8. So any number, we need to add another 8 on our combo meter. But we're going to ramp up here. Relatively similar time. Yeah, I think it's pretty much hit by hit, the same ramp up. But we can see that we're already doing a lot more burst damage because we have 2700. Now when we're going to activate our level 2, we're going to get more potent precision buff. That means we're going to be critting more often in general, 23, 25k, and 33. So that went up from 25 to 33. So there's quite a noticeable difference. There's a 19k crit on a heavy attack. And again, 13k medium crit. That's not too shabby. And now we just need to kind of get to another level 2, I suspect, and that'll probably be pretty much it. 25k, 9k non-crit, 35k. Do we need another heavy? Why not? Another, what is it, 18, 19k heavy attack. And now the results of this fight certainly have to be better, right? We have 54 hits and 132. So we definitely improved the damage output quite significantly. And the difference would be even higher if the fight would last longer. Now, another champion I mentioned is Luke Cage. And this clip is going to be kind of funny. Obviously, with Luke Cage, a lot of things depend with RNG as well. But I just went with special one spam strategy to kind of showcase, you know, Luke Cage at his, you know, basic. But quite often you see I don't necessarily get many debuffs active. This was like the highest one where we had 6, but I am spamming my level 1s, I am hitting Winter Soldier, and now we're at 165 hits, and Winter Soldier is at 50% health. So this is Luke Cage by himself, with no synergies, and again, effects are affected due to RNG. But keep in mind that it took me 165 hits to get to 50% health of Winter Soldier. Right now, we are going to activate Mr. Fantastic pre-fights, and every hit has increased attack rating now. Basically, now we do not fall below the minimum of 3 debuffs, right? And the fact that we're spamming level 1 obviously allows us to refresh the Mr. Fantastic pre-fights very easily. And there is a very significant difference of, once again, 94 hits. So before, this same thing took us 160 hits, 165 hits. Now we have reduced that by what, 70? Yeah, by 70 hits. So it's not exactly double the damage output, but not too far from it. So Luke Cage does gain a very huge attack boost. And then the last showcase is going to be Red Guardian. And the difference there is in the heavy attack and obviously the overall fight duration, because the heavy attack hits harder and you use that heavy attack a lot thanks to that trauma debuff on Captain Marvel Movie Classic. The difference basically gets multiplied by 2 or 3 based on how many traumas you have. And I'm going to leave the last fight kind of like in full from start to finish, just because it was quite a cool fight and I was quite happy with it. And there are some decent damage. But here I wanted to show that now, when you have 4 debuffs active, you hit basically over 7,800, something like that. And we can fast forward till the end. Pending, obviously, our RNG crit luck. I think now we have 3 traumas. That's the best time. Whenever you can get 3 traumas active, that's such a good time. Either way, that's it for the fight, and that was 2 minutes and 74 hits. So now let's just take a quick look at this one. I did butcher the first attempt and unfortunately let my traumas fall off midway through, which again is a very big problem with Red Guardian. I wish his trauma debuff would last longer. But now we have 3 debuffs active from the very beginning, and the obvious point is again to get the 3 trauma debuffs and well, have fun with that. So here we're going to be going with heavies. Wonderful. I'm not going to be trying to build up to 15, which I probably should have. I would do more damage that way. But we can see that our heavy attacks are, you know, definitely at a level they were when we had all of our debuffs properly ramped up. And the difference again is increased thanks to those trauma debuffs. Because if we do 1,000 more damage on a heavy attack, then thanks to trauma, we're doing additional 700 damage. If we have 2 traumas, then we do additional 1,400 damage, so on and so forth. So more of them, the better. And also suppression debuff is kind of helping us to spam our heavies a bit more frequently, because Captain Marvel Classic is gaining less power than she would in a regular fight. All of those things do come together quite well. So at this point, I think I'm just going to be building up to level 3. So here we go. I just need to make sure that I do not let the traumas fall off. So then I'm going to go with the special 3. I think I might have activated it a bit early, but it's okay. It's not the biggest deal. So here I went in for a full combo. Now I do need to be careful not to let them expire. Last minute refresh. But I'm about to be at 3 trauma debuffs. And I like this fight. I genuinely enjoy this fight. That was a nice 100k damage on that last hit. And now in the end, I just need to get in a nice heavy crit. That last heavy attack. 16k there, and 34k there. So we can see that the damage on heavy attacks definitely has increased. And again, the more traumas you have, the bigger the difference is. And here in the end, we finished it at 60 hits and 142. So fairly noticeably quicker. So either way, so these have been all of the interactions that I could come up with where champions have their own abilities that interact with debuffs on opponent. It doesn't have to be these debuffs, but it can be these debuffs, and that's the good thing, because you can pick and choose when you want to use them. And I personally enjoy finding these kind of like very weird combinations. So either way, let me know if you guys learned something new or enjoyed this video. And if you did, hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit all the good buttons, and I'm gonna catch you guys soon. See ya.
Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the